All right, hello. Welcome back to COM 231 Public Speaking for the week of April 14th, 2020. This is part 2 of our video lesson this week. All right, so now I wanted to briefly talk about our persuasive speaking assignment. And by now, hopefully you will have looked over this, and we briefly discussed this last week. But again, just wanted to briefly go over it with you. Your objective is to create a speech using a speech making process, which when you sent me your topic ideas, I suggested a speech making process to you in order to attempt to persuade the audience to change a belief, to act, or to reinforce a belief. So I know some of the ideas that I got were more of the informative sense, or some of them were maybe too high level, maybe kind of boiling the ocean, so to say. And so hopefully the feedback that I gave you works and you incorporate it, or at least some of it, or at least it gets you thinking a little bit, and which is ultimately the idea here, is to get you to think and to get you to learn and to do the best that you can with this assignment. All right, so your speech is going to be 8 to 10 minutes long. All right, so you want to include a minimum of 5 outside credible sources. All right, so this was why we did the annotated bibliography assignment. That's what this is referring to. So it will be just like that. You will have a typed preparation outline with your bibliography. All right, so this is your final outline, which is due the day of your speech. All right, and you will upload that to Blackboard. Okay. Extemporaneous notes. All right, so like I alluded to last week, it doesn't have to be note cards because of the situation, but yeah, I need to see a piece of paper or note cards or something. You're not learning as much as you can about this if you're reading off the screen. And if you reach a point in life where you're reading off a teleprompter or reading off the cue cards, then I'm proud of you. That means you took from this class and you built and built and built until you got to a high enough level where you're able to do that. And I would say respect, and I hope you'd remember me if you ever make it to that point. But with this assignment, please don't read off the screen, okay? And I am going to take points off if I see or I strongly sense that you're reading off the screen. And quite frankly, it's pretty obvious if you're reading off the screen. So please don't do it, okay? Do put on professional attire. Put on a shirt, a nice shirt, and we'll take off 5 points if not dressed appropriately. If you're standing, have nice pants on or nice clothes on. All right, and as we talked about, electronic presentation aid is not required. This would usually be required, but because of the circumstances, I'm not going to require it. If you do use an electronic presentation aid, you can get up to 20 extra points added on to your grade. And we'll talk a little bit more about these things in just a moment, okay? And do go into Blackboard and look over this assignment in full, all right? I know we've talked about this already, so I'm not going to read the entire thing right now to you, but if you have any questions about this, please feel free to let me know as always. And also, if you would like to do a Zoom call or a Zoom meeting with me, just let me know. We can arrange it and we can actually talk to each other if you have any questions or thoughts about anything, okay? So just reach out. Let me know how I can help you with anything, okay? With that being said, let's go into our chapters this week. All right, so chapter 20 is going to be speaking with presentation aids. And again, I'm going to go over this kind of quickly because this isn't required for your persuasive speech, but you will see questions about this in your Launchpad quizzes and then also on your test 3. But I am going to go through this kind of quickly. The lecture notes are in Blackboard, so you can always go back and refer to them, okay? All right, Chapter 20, Introduction. Presentation aids are objects, models, pictures, graphs, charts, video, audio, or multimedia used alone or in combination to illustrate your speech points. Presentation aids help listeners to see relationships among concepts and elements, store and remember material, and critically examine key ideas. The multimedia effect is a learning principle that suggests most people learn better when information is presented both verbally and visually. And the strength of any presentation aid is the context of the aid. So you want to relate aids to specific points in a speech. You want to ensure good design, and you do not want to simply duplicate what the speaker has said. And I'm telling you straight up, if you find yourself in the corporate world or in any kind of business environment, you may want to refer back to this, because the way this is laid out in your ebook is so basic and so easy to follow, and this stuff can get very complicated, but man, I'm telling you, we use the stuff that we're about to talk about so much in a corporate environment. When you're dealing with executives and bosses that are high up and they're very busy and they have entire organizations to run, and you can just throw a chart right in front of them and have a basic visual representation. They want to see costs. They want to see costs going down, and they want to see profits going up. And if you can visually note that to them, then you're doing your job. Okay, so just wanted to throw that in there. So visual rhetoric, the definition of this is the meaning conveyed by the images or graphics in visual aids beyond merely clarifying the verbal message. It draws the audience members into the speech and stimulates interest, and seeing facts of the argument laid out in front of them can make significant difference in how listeners respond to persuasive appeal. All right, so select an appropriate aid. So the type of aid or aids that will help your audience grasp information most effectively. So props and models. A prop is any live or inanimate object that helps demonstrate speakers' points, and a model is a 3D scale size object representation. This is often used in presentations in engineering, architecture, etc. You practice delivering your speech while using it. You make sure it's big enough for all to see and read, and you keep it hidden until ready to use it. Pictures, two-dimensional representations, photographs, line drawings, diagrams, maps, and posters. A diagram or a schematic drawing is how something works, is constructed, or operates, and a map visualizes geographic areas. All right, so a graph represents the relationship among two or more things. And here we have a line graph, which the points are connected by lines to show changes or fluctuations over time. So surely we've seen these things about COVID-19 cases, and we've seen this about what the economy is doing, which is this, and the COVID has been doing this, although hopefully we've kind of hit the curve now, and maybe they'll start to go down. So just think about that, because you're seeing, these are on TV, these are on the internet all of the time right now. Graph, same thing. You have a bar and column graph. The bar is in here and the column is here. Bars of varying lengths compare quantities or magnitudes. Okay, here's a pie graph, which are the divisions of a whole. So all of these percentages here are all going to equal 100. A pictogram is a picture that uses symbols to illustrate relationships and trends. So in this example, each logo here of these two people holding hands equals 1 million. So in 1990, there was 2.5 million in private universities compared to 6 million in public universities that are new college students. Okay, very easy visual representation of this data. All right, a chart is a method of visually organizing complex information into compact form. So a flow chart diagrams progression of a process as a sequence or directional flow, and a table is a systematic grouping of data in column form. Excuse me. Okay, and so here we see an example of this chart, a flow chart, right? So At the company that I work at, we use these all the time because we have so many processes, because we have so many products and services that we provide the customers. This has to be documented somewhere. And when you want to change a process using persuasive methods, you will pull this up and go, all right, well, this is how it is now, and this is what we want to change it to. So if you get to corporate America, this is something that you will refer to all the time, particularly when you have processes that touch a lot of people or they touch a lot of systems. Okay, here you have a hierarchical organizational chart, right? Again, at a company like a large financial institution or any type of large company, you're going to see these all the time. The president or the CEO, whoever's in charge, is always at the top, and then every person down from there reports to that person at the top. And then following this, the vice president of administration, these two people, the comptroller and the director of finance, report to the vice president of administration, who reports to the president and CEO. Okay, so here's a question if you'd like to email me the answer for a couple of extra points. What type of chart or graph is best to use to represent trends over time? Would it be a line graph, a flow chart, a table, or a bar graph? All right, so audio, video, and multimedia. An audio clip is going to be a short sound, music, or speech recording. We know what a video clip is, and multimedia combines several media into a single production. So stills, sound, video, text, and data. What we're watching right now in this video is a multimedia production because you're reading words on the screen and you can hear and see me as well. These motivates the listener's attention by helping to introduce, transition into, and clarify points. It provides richer variety of information cues, which are better for audience's attention, comprehension, and retention. Digital storytelling is defined as using multimedia to tell a story about yourself or others with resonance for your audience. When incorporating audio and video, cue the clip to the segment before presentation, alert the audience to what they will experience before playing, reiterate your clip relevance to key points once played, and use the clip in a manner consistent with copyright. Right, and real quick, computer-generated aids and displays. You can create these with software programs such as Microsoft PowerPoint, which is what I'm using right now, and these are the same slides that I was using while we were in person in class. This is Microsoft PowerPoint. And then Apple Keynote or online with Apple Prezi. And you can present with the LCD panels and projectors or the DLP presentation software. All right, chalkboards and whiteboards. Don't have to really go into this too much. Writing boards are useful for impromptu explanations. You can reserve them for quick and simple explanations and engaging the audience in a short brainstorming session. The disadvantages of this are they force the speaker to turn his or her back to the audience, which, you know, we've talked about this before. You never want to turn your back to your audience unless you absolutely have to, and you want to try to always put yourself in a position where you never have to do that. It makes listeners wait while you write on the board, and it requires legible handwriting that will be clear to all viewers. And some of us don't have legible handwriting, myself included. So definitely a disadvantage. A flip chart is a large pad of paper on which a speaker can write or draw. You can prepare the chart in advance or write and draw on paper as you speak. A simple word or drawing can be as or more powerful than a highly polished slide. Handouts, we're familiar with this. And posters, it's a large paperboard incorporating a combination of text, figures, and images illustrating some aspect of a speech topic. All right, so question, which of the following is a best practice when incorporating presentation aids into your speech? Turn your back to the audience to write frequently. Place the aid behind you for everyone to see. Place all aids out at one time. Maintain eye contact with the audience. Send me the answer in the email. Surely you know the answer to this one. All right, I'm going to end this video now, so I will see you in part 3. Thank you.